This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, July 17th. Looking at some of our highlights weather-wise, cool in the short term with some scattered precipitation through Wednesday. It is going to be windy on Friday ahead of a dry cold front. Look for the heat to build into the area early next week. In terms of fuels, cheatgrass is in various stages of curing across most lower elevations, but it is about 4 to 6 weeks ahead of normal. I'll look at lightning and precipitation. Lightning first, quite a bit of it across the eastern portion of the Great Basin, most concentrated down in the south and far east. There was some limited moisture with it. Here on the precipitation on the left, the deeper moisture still staying to our far south. Looking at the impact map, starting with today, it's a busy one. You have gusty winds of 25 to 35 miles an hour with humidity in the teens up in the central mountains of Idaho and western Wyoming. Also similar dry, gusty winds across the Sierra front. However, also we have those showers and thunderstorms, a mix of wet and dry as we see the yellows and the greens across southern and eastern areas. And another area of showers and thunderstorms actually expanding in coverage on Friday. But we'll continue to see those dry, gusty winds up in Idaho and across the immediate Sierra front. Again, gusts of 25 to 35, humidity in the teens. That'll be our biggest concern. On Saturday, lingering lightning, a mixed dry and wet across the central areas. But that's going to be the third day or fourth day in a row. So at that point, not expecting a significant increase in new fire activity. But our focus is still in the north with gusts of 25 to 35 miles an hour with humidity remaining in the teens as well as across the Sierra front. Looking at precipitation the past 7 days, before the last 24 hours, it was fairly dry precipitation-wise on the left and percent of normal on the right, anywhere in that dark red 0 to 10% of normal. It's been a busy day of IA. A lot of new fire starts in the red, especially in the southern and eastern areas. A lot of recent fires in the yellow. Still some prescribed burning lingering in some of these purple circles, but that will be dissipating in time. Looking at satellite imagery, we are looking at some moisture pushing up from the south, and again, the impetus for our showers and thunderstorms. Tight packing of these height lines with an upper level low over British Columbia, but we'll be into the drier air south of that low, so dry, a little cooler, but also quite breezy. That's going to accelerate the drying of fuels and give us some wind concerns as well. Looking at afternoon smoke from a variety of our fires, and you can see that coming from some of the big fires in Southern California, some of our existing fires in portions of Nevada, in Idaho, and in the Arizona Strip into Utah. There is that kind of a south to north trajectory in a lot of that for today. And for tomorrow, we should see a bit of dissipation in some of that fire activity and some of the resulting smoke. The ERC point map shows a lot of mixed bag things. The banana belt of highest ERCs is in the middle, where they did not have as much of a wetting rain, but areas further south and east in the 90th to 96th percentile were higher, but they got a little bit of precipitation, and that downward trend with those arrows is something we'll continue to see in the coming days. Further up north, ERC is not as critical, but they'll be getting higher as the breezy dry weather shows up on the impact map and hits their area. A few places of current fire danger. We'll look at down in parts of northeastern Nevada where we were at the 97th percentile and things have dropped down just a little bit for now. Further south across the Dixie National Forest, ERCs, which were very, very high, again, dipped down quite a bit with some of that cooler, showery type weather, but we'll see how long that lingers. Also, a weekly fuels update. Cheatgrass is starting to cure at lower elevations, and that's about 4 to 6 weeks earlier than normal. Sagebrush values are below normal for this time of year. Frost kill has been observed at some areas in southeast Utah. Having a look at our fuel and fire behavior advisory, quite busy across the area. We have one location here across both North and South Ely's district. We have a secondary area up here in northwest Nevada. A lot of that is mostly due to the above normal grass crop through that region. And we have another big concern down in southern Utah, and that's a combination of some grass crop, but also some of the higher elevations where timber has been quite dry over the past couple of weeks. Looking at our upper level map, Starting with the upper left on Wednesday, July 17th, we have a high pressure ridge starting to uh, build across the southern Arizona area, low pressure well off the coast. Now on Thursday, that high builds a little further northwards across the area. Should see some warming temperatures, could bring in some moisture. Low pressure off the California coast starts approaching, and more moist conditions there, also increasing winds. We'll be watching that low on Friday. It still is fairly deep off the San Francisco coast. High pressure ridge still in control, though sliding further to the east, but building further northwards. As we look on Saturday, an unseasonably deep low pressure area pushing towards northern California. We'll have to watch for showers, definitely much cooler temperatures. The high pressure ridge over us starts to diminish and slide further into the Mississippi Valley. And then by Sunday, that high pressure is gone. We have low pressure areas slowly moving across northern California. With these increased height lines, we will see increasing winds across the region, higher humidity across Nevada probably, but drier winds as you head further across the eastern Great Basin. And this low stays with us on Monday, drops down into Southern California, definitely cool, showery, unstable air. Winds diminish across the Great Basin, so a bit of a respite for us through there. Now, looking at the day 1 to day 3 weather pattern and fire potential, upper left, this is our critical day. We have, after some very dry days and critical ERCs, we have some of this mid-level moisture pushing into the Arizona Strip and southern Utah, southern Nevada. We do have high risk for lightning here, best chance across Ely's area, a bit more moisture across parts of the eastern and southeastern portions of the Great Basin. There's that wind concern that we have up in parts of Idaho and western Wyoming. So definitely drying out there, gusts over 30 miles an hour, humidity in the low to mid-teens. Now on Thursday, we do see that this moisture continues again. So more lightning and showers, but at this point, some of the fuels will be moistening up here on the bottom, so not as big of a concern. The winds at this point might slacken off just a little bit up in the north, so still dry up in Idaho and northwest Nevada, but not as much of a risk. And then on Friday, low pressure is over far northern Idaho. We have dry conditions, a little bit of breezy conditions still up here. We haven't issued high risk yet, but something we'll monitor. Meanwhile, south and east areas still have some lingering moisture, so still staying on the yellow side for now. Looking at the day 1 and day 3 winds and relative humidity up north, see those strong winds in the orange, gusts of over 40 miles an hour. That's our main concern, the humidities. Not very dry, but not moist either, somewhere in the mid to upper teens, where we do have that lower humidity further south in Nevada. The winds slacken off quite a bit. And some of these purple circles that you see here, these are outflow boundaries from nearby thunderstorms. So winds could gust to, maybe 10, 15 minutes, could be quite gusty, but not as big of a concern. But notice the humidity down in southern Utah, Arizona Strip, anywhere from 22 to 31%. So that diminishes activity there. Still locally breezy on Thursday across the Snake River Plain, but not quite high risk or red flag criteria. Maybe 10 to 20 mile an hour winds over northern Nevada with those very dry humidities, but not high risk. And again, the outflow boundary gusts and the thunderstorms that we see here over southern areas. Notice the humidity still is quite high across parts of southern and central Utah. Well, very dry up in northwest Nevada, but again, winds there slackening off. And then on Friday, we do still have some strong winds across eastern Idaho. Humidity in the mid to upper teens, maybe 20% in Wyoming. So we'll be watching that, but still some of those outflow boundaries with nearby thunderstorms across central areas of Nevada and Utah. Moderately breezy elsewhere. Again, the biggest concern maybe will be the winds up in northern Nevada, because that's where the humidity down below here will be the driest. Looking at temperatures and forecast precipitation for today, temperatures up in McCall could be in the upper 50s, otherwise 65 to 70 in the lower elevations in Idaho, and getting into the mid 70s, central areas, near 90 down in Vegas. Looking at precipitation, there'll be some isolated shower and thunderstorm activity given by the light green shades here. Heavier precip further westwards. Now on Thursday, upper 60s up north, low to mid 70s further south, and cooling off a bit in the Vegas area, cooling off even more as we get into Friday down there, and everyone sees temperatures continuing a slow downward trend because we do have Some precipitation moving in both Thursday and Friday, light to perhaps locally moderate in the higher elevations of northern Nevada, as well as the Sierra Front and into some of the higher terrain of Utah as well. Looking for days 4 through 6, weather pattern and fire potential. We do see that by day 4, this will be Saturday, we have high pressure kind of east of the Four Corners, a low pressure over the northern Rockies, so some breezy conditions through here. And it's also a drying trend. Notice the 7-day, most of the PSAs do go brown, except for the far south. On Sunday, deeper low pressure picking up some moisture, so we do see some showers moving into parts of the northern, or I should say the central portions of the Idaho mountains. Still dry ahead of the front further south. Could be some concerns there. We don't have high risk yet, but the areas are in the brown. We'll continue to monitor the situation. And then not much change in that low pressure area. It very slowly moves across eastern Washington. Could be a trailing cold front, some shower and thunderstorm activity across southern and eastern Idaho. Still dry and breezy just south of there. And see, most of our PSAs have gone into the brown at that point.
Oh, it's terrible right now.
Looking at day 4 to 6, winds and relative humidity. On days 4, you can see here on Saturday, quite gusty, 30, 35 mile an hour winds, central Idaho Mountains, western Wyoming. Still some of that convective gust feedback from the thunderstorms in central areas, otherwise just locally breezy elsewhere. Humidity, again, mid to upper teens in the north. Driest areas will be central and western areas where it'll be in the upper single digits to low teens, then still staying with the high humidity further south and east of there. Now on Sunday, still breezy across the central Snake River Plain with some of these winds through here. We do see some breezy conditions again in northern Nevada. See those low humidities in northern Nevada as well, but elsewhere you go further south and east and the humidity does rise through the 20s and into the low 30% range. Now on Monday, we see the winds picking up again on the outskirts of eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, so that's a concern. Humidity still kind of dry up there. Again, the driest humidity would be down in northern Nevada, but also drying out in the south. So we're seeing humidities that used to be 30% in southern Utah. Now they're somewhere 18 to 20%, so we'll watch that trend as well. Days 4 to 6, temperature and forecast precipitation. Again, upper 50s to near 70 degrees in northern mountain areas, upper 60s to low 70s in the south, and near 90 again in the Vegas area. Widespread precipitation across many parts of the area shown through here. That should calm things down a bit. And similar story, we see, again, temperatures 60s to low 70s in the north, low and mid 70s most of the areas, except when you get towards Vegas and St. George, it warms up well up into the 80s. That cooling trend continues into Monday as well. Temperatures dropping off by a few degrees. You see the precipitation is pretty widespread Saturday and Sunday. Start to finally taper off a bit on Monday. Now our total precipitation accumulation through the entire 7-day period through here, and again, the heaviest amounts will be up in the north, much lighter as you head through central and southern regions. So let's do a recap of our significant fire potential. We have high risk in store for many northern areas today, and high risk for lightning in the South Ely area. There'll be lightning in these yellow areas as well, but the fuels have moistened quite a bit. We'll do without the high risk for the rest of the period, but we'll see an expansion of the yellow on Thursday as more moisture moves into not just southern, but also central areas. And then that trend starts to reverse by Friday and Saturday. We start seeing very dry conditions, and the overall large fire potential starts to increase with those brown colors. And then by Sunday and into Monday, most areas will be critical with a significant increase in large fire potential, but no high-risk triggers at this point. Looking at the longer range outlooks for the 6 to 10 day, significantly warmer and drier than normal across, centered right across the Great Basin. We'll see precipitation drier than normal with a strong dry signal across Idaho into western Wyoming, near normal in the far south. Thinking a bit further out into the 8 to 14 day, still above normal, maybe shifting a little bit further eastwards, but still temperatures very warm for this time of year. We still see a bit of a drier than normal signal in the north, but we see that moist signal start to expand northwards into at least 2/3 of Utah and Nevada during that time period. This concludes our briefing. Have a great day.